evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave WW7ATS. Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll find some information about our club and also the frequencies that we transmit on. Also, you'll be led to streaming of our nets on YouTube. There's a link on our homepage for that. That'll bring you the pictures that we're putting out and the voice. So with that, we'd like to thank the owners and operators of the SeaTac Repeater Association letting us use WW7STR's repeater, known as the 08 machine 147.08, with a tone of 103.5 for our communications for our video nets. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact with somebody before our net gets fully engaged this evening. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Go through the check-in list we have. So far we got Ron, KD7QKU, Bob, K9PQ, Jim, N7QO, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, myself, Dave, KD7ZYM, and we have Larry back with us, KI7GST. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the net tonight? 7ITL. 7ITL, Wade. Thanks for checking in. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's start off with Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you, KD7ZYM and the group. Good evening, you guys. This is KD7QKU over in Tacoma. Well, I guess first off, I'd like to kind of apologize for missing a couple of nets. One of them, my brother-in-law came over. They were going to have, I don't know if I've told you guys this, his wife was having a bunch of ladies at the house, and so I sent him a text message saying if you want to come over, we can talk and find something to watch on TV. I thought it was a Tuesday night, but lo and behold, it was Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, about 4:30, 5 o'clock, he sent me he actually called, said, hey, I'd like to take up on your offer. I'd like to come over. And I said, sure. Well, I and Doug are, getting better acquainted. We've known each other for 50 years, but we only met at birthdays and holidays and didn't spend a lot of time, one-on-one. But here lately, since we've been living here, we spend a lot of time kind of one-on-one. We found out we have a lot of things in common. Politics, for one thing. And, football and Jamie and Chris, of course, family. And, he likes to woodwork, and I know a little bit about it, but he was a really good cabinet maker. He's the one that made the coffins, so it seems like whenever we get together we have a lot to talk about. So when he came over that night, I felt really nice that he felt comfortable enough to come over. He's not a shy guy, but he's not too outgoing. But anyway, so I think he's feeling really comfortable with us, and I think that's nice. So I didn't check into the net that night because he was here and we were visiting. And let it drop a second. The reason we moved over here was so we would be closer to family. So lo and behold, Matt and Lisa, Matt call it a pergola. It wasn't a hexagon, it turned out to be rectangular. And he set it up on his patio and has a metal roof on it. So Lisa called and said, hey, would you guys like to come over and sit under our pergola and we'll have dessert? So I didn't, I was going, but Joanne said, hey, that's why we moved here. If we say no, they'll quit inviting us. Yeah, you're right. So it was a Wednesday night too, so we went over and it was cold and windy and we sat out underneath their new pergola. They had a picnic table and chairs. And she served dessert, cake and ice cream. And Matt had a heater. Matt had one of those heaters that has a thing and then comes down and the tank's in the bottom. But I think the gas tank was so low on gas that he couldn't get it to stay on. So the heater didn't do us any good. So Lisa brought out blankets, so we all sat there with blankets on. I think Matt procrastinated. He got this some time ago and he didn't get it together until just recently, but I guess they can sit out there and it's got a metal roof on it, so it won't rain on their picnic tables. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. So back to net KD7QK.
KU. The net acknowledges Lee N7KC is checked in, and we'll go to Port Angeles and take him now.
Okay, very good. This is Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles. Thank you, Dave. And good evening to the crew, Richard, Ron, and James, and Dave. And I don't know if there's somebody off like Jim and Covington. I don't know yet. Anyway, oh my gosh, we've had amazing weather over here. It's been beautiful, but no rain, and we are now in stage 3 of water conservation. So the river is just a smidge over 300 cubic feet. I think it's 312 tonight. Whoa. We were only down here once before, about 4 years ago, in this position with the water. And you know what? I think there might be a possibility of some rain tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. The other news is I continue to work on my shed projects, and I'm actually getting my shop in the garage squared away now. You can walk through it. That's progress. I ordered a green screen. It's the kind that attaches to the back of your chair. It wasn't very expensive. Got it on Amazon. So it should be here in a few days. So it'd be kind of fun to see if I can add the backgrounds. The background did finally show up here on my, but without a green screen, and I incorporate them. It's just totally nuts. You can barely tell that I'm in there. So there you go. I'll quit right now. N7KC, Lee Airport Angeles. Back to you, Dave.
And the net acknowledges Bert. N7KC is in and out this evening for the net. He's on a cruise up near Alaska. So let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Well, good evening, everybody. Let's see. Well, it's been a little while for me as well since I've had family in town and something else going on another Saturday. I can't remember what it was. Last Wednesday I just wasn't feeling very well. So anyway, things are getting back to normal. Although today, I'll tell you, the smoke was really, really bad. There's a Puget Sound Clean Air, something like that. There's a website, and they give you the air quality. There are a number of measuring stations around Puget Sound, and right where I am, Bothell Kenmore was the worst of anywhere in Seattle, which is in the whole Puget Sound area, which is the same as it was the last time around about a week ago. But today I got into stage, which basically you have moderate, which is what it is pretty often. You know, there's pure green is pure clean, then there's moderate. There's unhealthy for sensitive people, unhealthy for everybody, and then very unhealthy, and we got to very unhealthy. So, yeah, it was pretty bad here today. I couldn't see across the little valley about a mile away. I couldn't see anything on the other side of it for midday, but it's cleared up now. In fact, I need to get the house aired out. It's smokier inside than outside right now. Okay, I'll send it back to that K9PQ.
I'm This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Okay, yeah, just getting a Grand Stream scenario squared away here. Oh yeah, room 10. Okay, Bob, for whatever reason we didn't see you come up. Grand Stream acted like we were going to see you, but maybe we'll get you the next round. And then Larry, KI7GST, was checked in. I think, well, Larry is an in and out. Let me just put it bluntly. I just got a text from him that he said he was just too burnt out tonight, just finished two city Zoom meetings. So, whoa, that would burn me out too. So, I would guess that might be Kirkland. I could be wrong, might have been Seattle. I know he's pretty active in auxiliary emergency systems, communication systems, so it could be into that as well. So let's see here, what else? I didn't notice until I was done speaking. I think I forgot to save after. Okay, well anyway, pretty funny. Okay, so what was I going to say? And that is Port Angeles and the water crisis. I guess I'm going to call it that. You didn't call it that, Lee, but whatever. I think you said Category 3. I don't know. Is that on a scale of 1 to 3 or a scale of 1 to 5? I don't know, but okay, 1 to 5. Okay, so. Okay, well, hopefully it doesn't get any worse than 3. The only worry that I have for you is I don't see any rain in my forecast for the foreseeable future. So that's kind of spooky. And then my next comment just kind of goes right into this, and that would be smoke. If we're not going to see any rain in the foreseeable future, are we going to see more smoke? It might not be from the current fires. I'm a little nervous about fires that we don't know that we're going to have. So, this is weird stuff, if you ask me. So anyway, what else? That's really about it, except I know the YL did a quick stop by over at KD7QKU's place. I don't think she was there for very long, but I told her she ought to check up on him and Joanne and make sure they're behaving, and she said they were, so we're okay there. KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX. Let's see if Wade's with us. W7ITL.
This is W7ITL. Just give me just a minute here. I'm trying to switch myself in. Just give me real quick. Didn't really have anything prepared for this round, and I'm not sure if I'm actually going to make it the next round. Just pretty tired. But I just wanted to say hi. I haven't checked in a while, and it was nice seeing everybody tonight. And hopefully Bert's having a good time on his
trip out on the cruise. You said Alaska, I think. That was, I forget who said that now. But, all right, well, thanks for letting me check in, and I'll turn it back to Dave. W7ITL, back to Dave. 7ITL, let's go on to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, no computer tonight, so you're not seeing my smiling face. Yeah, I missed the last net as well. My wife had some other plans here. We got together with some friends from church. But let's see, things getting back to normal, I don't know. There's no such thing as normal for me, unfortunately. A generous amount of smoke here during the day today. The morning was clear, and right now I can't smell any smoke out there, but during the middle of the day it was kind of bad. One of my neighbors was outside doing some work around the house, and his eyes just kept watering, so he had enough. Friends there. Lee, yeah, drought in PA. I kind of go along with Dick. I'd call that a crisis. And green screen, we'll have to see that. Also, question, you were putting up some kind of better antenna system. Just curious about the status on that, if it looks like. A couple mornings here I've been reminded that summer is almost over. Not looking forward to it getting colder. I've kind of grown fond of the warmth that we've had this summer. Anyway, back to you, Dave, on 7QO.
QO, let's go to James in Bellevue, WU7N.
Thank you, Dave. Heard a little bit of perhaps digital interference there. How's my audio right now, Dave? I popped up a picture here, just a picture of the evening. This is from the Webb telescope, and I didn't even know Neptune had all these minutes. I knew they had rings, but I didn't know about minutes. I guess the last time we had a clear shot at the rings was 1989, when a visitor passed by and sent back some pictures. But so I thought that was a pretty incredible picture. It is in the infrared spectrum, and of course, and digitally enhanced, but still, it's really interesting to see the 6 moons and the rings. So I just thought I'd share that with everybody. You can use, I know someone who has livestock on this side of the mountains and said the cost of hay has now gone up 50%, that's 50%, in a very short period of time. And what that's being attributed to is the rising cost of diesel fuel, but I guess there was a little bit of lag, because hay is something people typically store in barns. So they're just now starting to feel the crunch of the diesel crunch, or at least that's the current theory. I didn't know if that was a leading or lagging indicator of the price of hay. On that note, Lee, clearly what you need is a massive taxpayer-funded debacle for a new reservoir. That's what you guys need up there. You could just block off one of those valleys up there and create a reservoir, and I'm sure it only cost you 20, 30 times more than it should, and then you wouldn't have to worry about water anymore. That's clearly the answer. And Bob, that's why we all gave up smoking. I haven't smoked a cigar in years because it's thoughtfully provided for us. Now, every summer you just breathe in and out. You get the same effect, I think, pretty much. I was kind of surprised, the differential just between up where you live to the Everett direction where I live down here in Bellevue. There was a little bit of difference because it was not really that bad here today. I could see clear across the lake. And when I just stepped outside, I did a little four-hill walk this afternoon, and of course the worst I've ever seen it was not this summer, last summer, and I couldn't even get any filters. So this time I did get 4 filters. filters on what was projected to be a bad smoke day. And of course what I'm doing is I just put the filter in a box and put a fan so air is sucked through the box and through the filter. Well, this time I at least have the filter, but the the box I got was about 1/4 inch too small. It didn't really fit well. So the filters are still sitting there in their wrappers. And if we get through this smoke season, then I guess it'll wait till next season before I actually get the filters going. Unless, of course, there's nuclear attack or, biohazard or something else. So the filters I got are supposed to be fairly good filters. My new term of the day that I learned, stalking horse, S-T-A-L-K-I-N-G, horse, H-O-R-S-E. I didn't know what that was. I had to go look it up. If anybody else knows what that is, tell me without checking the ever helpful internet what you think a stalking horse is. This is it for me, James, WW7ATS for this round in Bellevue, Washington. Turning it back to our net control, KD7ZYM, Dave.
Get an ID in again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, I was inside most of the day, journeyed out to Safeway up at 125th and 15th Avenue Northeast. And I was going to shop for some meat, but all of their refrigeration system had been shut down. And they had big tarps over all their facilities and they pulled all the meat off the shelf and the fish out of the display case, and where the milk was and where all of the vegetables were stored. They had big tarps over that, visqueen, and over where the cheese market was, they had that covered too, trying to keep in all of the cool. And I was surprised the bakery goods they had covered up with visqueens. So I was going like, wow, I think I'll come back at another time. This wasn't going to work out. However, their cash registers were still ringing up, so they must have had that circuit that was still going. And that was about my outing for today. I was going to do some more yard work, but it was just too smoky and decided not to. Yesterday I chopped up a bunch of branches, and I was to the point of exhaustion after a couple hours, so I decided, time to wait. There's no rush, and to fill up those big recycle bins for lawns and debris. So I did that, got that out of the way, and they picked it up. So that's about what's happening. I'm thinking about Ron, a coffin maker. Boy, I tell you, I think I need it, and maybe some of the other people here be right on. It's time to get some orders out there so they'll be ready in time. And a pergola party, that's pretty good. And Ron was talking about an LP heater. Gosh, many years ago I just got this nice LP heater, and I was going out for the 4th of July on a dock, and I was going to be, I'm going to be warm with this LP heater. I had a new tank, and I plugged it in, lit it up, and it went whoosh. It went out. Tried it again, it went whoosh, it went out. After about the 5th time, I said, well, this isn't going to work. So I put that away, but I did find out the problem was it was a new tank, and they're filled with inert gas. So when they fill it up, the inert gas goes up to the top, and basically you have to bleed off some of the gas in the tank to get rid of that inert gas, and then you're back to the propane. So I was surprised. And then after that, boy, it worked great. So, new tank, got to be sure that you open it up and get that out. And lead, water everywhere, but not where you are. And smoke for Bob. Oh gosh, smoke everywhere. And Richard had smoke and talked about fire. And he got his YL to go by Ron's house. That sounds great. And Jim, no problem. Communications were great on the net. And it just goes to show you got a face for radio. You really come across good. No pictures. And James, Neptune 6 moons. I don't think I've ever seen Neptune 6 moons. So thank you for mooning us on the net. And let's see, what else have I got? Price of hay. yes, that does go up this time of the year. But I think it's getting to the point where they start cutting it down and putting it in bales about this time of the year. So they probably understand of it. Hopefully we won't have any hay fires like we have had in the past. They seem to draw in a lot of flames and really go up in a big manner. So we'll wish all the people that have cattle that need the hay to feed them well. So that's about pretty much here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go back up to the top of the list to Ron, KD7QKU.
Well, thank you very much, Dave, and hello again, KD7QKU here. So Debbie was next on my list. So I was just opening the garage to take the car out. Joanne had a 1 o'clock doctor's appointment up at St. Francis, and it was about 20 till 1. The mail lady stopped to give me my mail, and I walked out to get the mail, and lo and behold, Debbie drove up behind her. So I ushered her in the house real quick, and I'm yelling at Joanne. We had company, and Joanne came hustling out, and we had a quick visit with Debbie. Darn, we were so glad to see her, and we wish we could have stayed home so she could have stayed here for a little while, and we could have kind of got. And we touched on Richard, and we touched on her mother, and a few things. I think she was going to go take her mother shopping, maybe to get a gift. So anyway, that way it was really nice to see Debbie. We haven't seen her for quite a while. So I'm looking here at my list. Smoke. Well, gee, Merry Christmas, you guys. We're very lucky over here. We're close to the Narrows, and we hardly have any smoke at all. Hardly at all. I mean, of course, there's nothing to smell and very little to see. So that's good for us. And James, you were talking about Lee and water. Well, they had a dam on the Elwha. Maybe they had 2 dams, and they had them all backed up, reservoirs for miles, and then they tore them all down. So Lee's saying 2. So, I mean, they were big lakes. So, I don't know. So I think they're going to have to go to I can't say it, desalination, convert salt water to fresh water. I understand there's a guy that has a barge, and he has a desalinator on it or something. So, anyway, we can check it. Then I heard there was another guy who was doing it like through osmosis or something, and he didn't have a lot of leftovers. That has to be pumped back in the sea, which is a big deal. And what else have I got here? A stalking horse. I think that's a stick horse, and the head's made out of a sock. If that's not true, well then horses do have stockings, and sometimes they refer to horses stockings. They have, white color around their ankles. So other than that, I don't know what a stalking horse would be. So, but James is laughing. And Lee, my son informed me he's coming over, and we're going out to Mike's. We're all going to get together out there for about 3 days into the month, and he's bringing my 9-inch telescope back. He said that he doesn't enjoy using it, and it's too much to store. I think he's only tried to look through it once or twice. He was very disappointed. He couldn't see the tracks where the people had been on the moon. I guess he thought that he was going to see the debris and stuff they left up there. I told him, no. So I don't know, but he said that he was disappointed. As big as that telescope was, you couldn't see stuff, on the moon or anything. So I guess he was expecting it to be fantastic. What else have I got down here? So I guess, and Lee in his shed, he's doing real well. You haven't given, I guess there hasn't been much wind, so you can't give us your windmill report. I hope in the future, when the winter comes and the wind starts blowing, we can get a windmill report. Maybe we'll all have to go get windmills. We have quite a bit of wind over here, so windmill in my house in the winter would probably work pretty good. All right, that's enough babbling. Back to net, KD7QKU.
Let's go to Lee in 7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, here we go again. This time I hit the timer. Started in 7KC Lee in PA. Well, very good. Stalking horse. I'm thinking it's a male with sunglasses stalking a mare in heat. That's what I'm thinking. Pergolas. You know what? Those are cool. We don't have a pergola. We've got a sunroom. But it looks to me like they're quite a chore. If you look at the ones that Costco has, that's quite a construction project to put those up. Propane tanks. I purchased from Costco that tri-fuel generator last year, and I bought 2 new propane tanks, 2 5-gallon tanks, to accompany it. They were brand new, and Dave, you'll find this interesting. They had a very good vacuum inside. In fact, they have cautions on, do not open this valve until it's ready to receive propane. So what they did was, and this was a national manufacturer, they're expensive tanks. Anyway, so they have a good vacuum in them, so there's basically nothing in the tank, and then the propane flows right in. So that's how they handle that. Now, green screen. I'm a little, I only bought the one that goes on the back of a chair, because it was not very expensive. And the problem is that a green screen ought not to have any shadows on it. It's not a green screen if it's got shadows. And that's why sometimes they're 9 feet wide, like the photographic backgrounds. And they come down, they have a sweep at the bottom, and then they're uniformly lit, and the subject is well ahead of them, so that there's no shadows, because that isn't a green screen anymore if it's got shadows. Now, with this thing on the back of my chair, the only way to avoid shadows is almost to have a light right straight in front of me, and I can't do that. So anything to the side like I've got right here is going to cast a shadow, so it isn't going to be a very good green screen. So I thought, what the heck, I'll try it anyway. I'm out of time in 7KC. Back to you, Dave. Take her away.
KC, green screen and all. Let's go on to Bob, K9PQ.
Understand what's happening. Okay, well, so it goes. I'll have to figure out what's going on. I'm on a different computer, but that shouldn't have changed. I mean, I've accessed the site. It's responding like it's changing, but apparently it's not changing. Oh well. Let's see. Stalking horse. I have not looked it up, and I'm pretty clueless, but I did hear you say it was S-T-A-L-K-I-N-G, so it's not stalkings like you would find on a horse, but it's more like what Lee was talking about, and I just figure it's got to be a play on rocking horse, and that's why they call it stalking horse, but that's as far as I can go with it. I mean, I have no clue what it's supposed to be, and now I have to know. So I'll send it back, K9PQ.
Let's go on to Richard, K7ITX.
I'm bummed out I don't have an answer for stalking horses either. I'm bummed out because growing up I used to just love horses. I mean, God, I used to ride them all the time in ranch, Lazy F Ranch, just outside of Ellensburg. Gosh, they were, they really were a passion, except unhealthy, or whatever you said, or hazardous. I was in unhealthy, number 160. So it's down to 127 right now, which has gone from unhealthy to one notch better, but it's still pretty miserable. And let's see, what else was I going to say? And that's regarding the telescope. I know where your sound's coming from, Ron. As you can imagine, when we were kids, it got to the point where the best use of the telescope we found was to be able to watch King Kong versus Godzilla. This is when we were growing up. Believe it or not, there was a movie, a drive-in movie theater right where the Lutheran, where my mom's at the Lutheran home. There used to be, it's called Autoview Drive-In Theater, and we could see that from Bridgeport Way, top of Bridgeport Way by 37. We could see that with the naked eye. Of course, you couldn't see any movies or anything, but with a telescope, we could actually see King Kong fighting with Godzilla. And for 7, 8, 9-year-olds, doesn't get much better than that, especially if it's free. So that's what I thought about the telescope. When your son was trying to put good use to it, maybe he could have saw something across the water or down somewhere in his neighborhood. One of the weirdest, the saddest things I saw today on the internet, trending on Russian Twitter, how to break your arm at home. That is very, very sad, and I did see quite a few YouTube streaming videos right away last night and today, where particularly the young people, the college students, or those that unfortunately don't have college deferments, they're scared to death. They don't want to go to war. So anyway, how to break your arm at home. Boy, unbelievable. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, let's go on to Jim, M7QO.
M7QO, thank you, Dave. Dick, wow. How to break your arm at home. Well, my wife can tell you how to do that. Ouch. But that, I was going to ask, why would that be? And then I think you kind of explained it to avoid the draft. My goodness. I guess that's one way to avoid the draft. Yeah, frightening. Let's see, Jim. Rings around, I think you said it was Neptune. I saw something on television to that effect. Did they mention Jupiter? I don't remember, but that brings up an interesting thought. And you were talking about the moons as well. I wonder how Earth would look from a great distance away. We have an asteroid belt surrounding us here. Or actually, I guess it's not really Earth. But anyway, yeah, we're seeing a lot with this newfangled telescope out there in space. That's pretty good. And stalking horse, I am clueless about that. I have heard of a cutting horse. A friend of mine who was a flight attendant used to ride cutting horses all the time in Texas, and she entered contests, but I have not that I recall, have I heard the term stalking KD7ZYM and 7QO.
The first thing I should do is address the famous stalking horse issue. I was reading an analysis, a financial analysis, and someone was saying, well, something is just a stalking horse, but didn't explain it. So I had to go on a word search to try and find out what that means. And the origin of it is early fowl hunters, duck hunters and pheasant hunters, things like that, discovered that while I guess birds in Western Europe were very cagey and would, like if some person was walking along the field, they would go, oh, a person, and they'd run off or fly off. They observed that these birds got used to livestock, horses and cows, just milling about in the field. Originally, they started to say, well, we'll just kind of push this cow or horse in this general direction and kind of hide behind the cow or horse, and then the birds don't see us. And then we can suddenly jump out from behind the horse and, hunt the birds. But then someone said, well, the cow or the horse is, kind of impatient with all this. And so then they found, I would imagine someone basically made like a giant dummy of a horse or something. And then they found, well, you didn't have to do that birds have a pretty one-dimensional or two-dimensional vision, so they found they could just make a silhouette of a horse and move it in front of them sideways and get closer and closer to the fowl. And so that was called a stalking horse. I didn't know what that means. Is used whenever you purport to be doing something for one reason, but you're actually probably just trying to get people used to the idea. And this was being put forth because credit card companies are now segregating up your credit card purchases more and more as to exactly what you are buying. And this is, one analyst said, well, this is a collusion between credit companies and governments, because this is a move towards fiat, that is Federal Reserve-based digital currencies. And he was saying, well, picking some things out and making a big deal that that's a credit card company separate category is just a stalking horse to try and get people used to the idea, because pretty soon everything will be micromanaged down to the individual item. So I roll up to the Dairy Queen and it says, I'm sorry, but based on your last health exam, you don't get a double stacked cheeseburger. Try the salad instead. I don't know. It'll be some annoying computer voice that tells you that. So anyway, let's see, moon tracks. That's funny, Ron. I do kind of see how someone might think a 9-inch telescope could see tracks on the moon. But actually, I think the closest anybody got to that was either the Chinese or the Indians. I don't remember who it was. They had some kind of platform of very low lunar orbit, very, very low, and very, very good optics. And the best they could get is a couple pixels with the sun at a certain, and the camera at a certain angle, and they think a couple of those pixels on the screen might be one of the landers, and I thought that was amazing. Of course, you never know. Was it just somebody that, put little blobs on the screen? I don't know, because certainly it was not identifiable as an actual lander, and if someone had said that from that altitude, I would have said, no, that's not what that is. So, anyway, that's so moon tracks. And Richard, I guess it was true. I was a little kid. Everybody said the Russians would be up in arms at some point. I didn't know that they'd be breaking their own arms to avoid going to their version of Vietnam. That is so sad on so many levels. Wow, it really does make you appreciate it. I do know the hockey player had a false military ID, and he's worth millions of dollars, and one would assume he was smart enough to bribe the official if there was something wrong with the ID to say, can't you just let that go? There's a cool $100,000 in it for you. The official still ratted him out, which tells me either the hockey player wasn't thinking, or the official was thinking not catching this guy was not worth the bribe. Because from what I read on one source, getting out right now is all based on bribery. If you're 18 through 36 years of age, it's all how you bribe and who you bribe. And I guess the places to get out are Georgia, Azerbaijan, I can't remember, Turkey, I think it was. But there are places you don't need a visa.
because they're so popular to go for vacations. But obviously, that's the other interesting thing. As soon as Putin put out his speech, morning Moscow time, all the airline tickets maxed out, and it's up to $9,000 or $10,000 to go from something like Moscow to Ankara now, which is outrageous. It does make you appreciate where you live. This is James, WW7N. Back to Dave, KD7ZYM on air control.
WU7N, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. The term stocking horse, I remember when my young son was about 4 years old, his grandmother took a big stocking, stuffed it, and attached it to a broom handle. And if you can see the picture of a horse head with a big sock that's stuffed with the base of it being taped to the handle, and so it was kind of like a hobby horse. The young child went around the house as like a hobby horse with it. So that's what I was thinking of, a stocking horse. That was the memory I had, another version of it, I guess. So that's about it. And I did hear about airline tickets being sold out in Russia for people leaving, especially the youngsters, 18 through 25. I don't know where they were going, but they said all the seats were filled up and people were leaving. So I imagine they're looking forward to a draft that's coming up. So that's about it. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU here again. Well, Richard, I'm sorry I left in the middle of your turn. The cat litter box is in the bedroom, and whenever she goes in there and takes a poop, the awful smell seems to just come right into here, the way the air flows or something. My goodness, it was, the cat food doesn't smell that bad going in, but it sure smells bad coming out. I had to turn the fan on here, turn the exhaust fans on in the bathroom, spray, and of course I had to, put it in a baggie, and we keep baggies in there and scoop it out, put it in the baggie and ziplock it. So, but anyway, it was too late. It had already sunk up this whole end of the house. Well, let's see. The stalking horse, that's interesting. Well, I understand the Ukrainians over there, they did the same things to the Russian. Apparently their drones and stuff, that's what I read, they painted cardboard to look like tanks and stuff. And so with their, whatever they were spying on them with, that's how they kind of surprised them in this attack. They moved their troops and stuff, but, they had these cardboard silhouettes and stuff, and so they thought they were still there, and then all of a sudden, here they are in a different part of the country. So that's what I read. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, but kind of like the Trojan horse. So let's see. When we went today over to I don't know if you call it the landfill, the garbage dump, whatever. Here in Tacoma, you can't put bottles, you can't put plastic bags, quite a styrofoam. There's quite a bit of stuff you can't put in the trash. But you have to take it over, and they have containers, and it's free, but you just have to drive it over there, back up and open up your trunk, and take all those plastic bags that you get the produce in and stuff, and put them in these containers and batteries. They take battery stuff. So we were over there, and there's a Sonic drive-in restaurant over there on 6th Avenue in Orchard. And so I heard them advertise, James or somebody mentioned cheeseburger. So they advertised 2 cheeseburgers for $5. So I've never eaten at a Sonic drive-in. So on the way home, we swung into the Sonic drive-in, and I drove up to the drive-in window, and I said, "There are 2 cheeseburgers for $5. Yep. She said 2 double cheeseburgers for $5. And so what's the deal? So we got 2 double cheeseburgers for $5. Double meat, double cheese. They have pickles and onions and ketchup and mustard. They're just a little bit better than a McDonald's cheap hamburger, but not much. I thought it was a little nicer. Tasted maybe slightly better. I don't know. They had other burgers, of course, on their sign, and I guess I'll have to try one of those sometime. But that was our lunch, 2 double cheeseburgers from the Sonic Drive-In. And Richard, you were talking about the drive-in restaurant, movie theater drive-in, and your telescope, and I'm sorry I missed part of that, but it sounded kind of interesting. And what else do I have down here? Oh, you know, this is kind of just to Lee, maybe. I don't know. I don't think anybody else. Let me let her drop. So anyway, they put me on some blood thinner, Lee, small amount, and I haven't had any ambition. So I decided to look at it, and that's one of the side effects is that you get lethargic, you don't want to do anything. Man, I've been like that. But I also read that it only lasts in your system about 6 hours, but the effects it has on your platelets is about 24 hours. So I've been taking it in the morning, and then I feel pretty good. I get up in the morning, go for a walk, but by around noon or afternoon, I just don't want to do anything besides sit. And so I decided tonight was the first time I'm going to take it in the evening, and then maybe the effects will wear off by morning. So I don't know if you've experienced, of course you take warfarin or something. You don't. I take Trilix or whatever it is. So maybe it's different, but yeah. So my new deal is to take it in the evening. I called the pharmacist to make sure that it would be okay to take it. I take a blood pressure pill in the evening. So I wanted to make sure it'd be okay to take the 2 together, and they said it was. So I'm going to try it, so hopefully I won't be so worthless. Back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, let's go to Lee, N7KC.
Okay, Victor and Lee here in 7KC in Port Angeles. Yes, I've been on warfarin for over 16 years now, and everything works well for me. You know what, I run out of gas, Ron, during the day too sometimes, and you know what really does a good job is a Gatorade. You know, electrolytes and a little bit of sugar, and boy, it just puts me right back in the groove. Anyway, so you might just for fun, they used to have a G2 Gatorade that had half the sugar of the regular G, but they discontinued that. I don't know why. They made it for several years and then they stopped making it. And so now I have to, you know, I can only get the G, and it's got more sugar in it, and I don't like it very well, but then, because I think it's an electrolyte thing. Anyway, it makes a difference. You might just for fun try that. It can give you quite a nice lift. Yes, I heard on the news tonight about the Russians buying one-way tickets. They're overwhelming the airports trying to get out of there. And who could blame them, really? I mean, honestly, it's just so sad. Just so sad what the Russians have done to those people in Ukraine. Just unbelievable. And now he's threatening nuclear weapons. You know, the guy's a nut. I think somebody's going to pop him. One of his security people or something will take him out because he's so dangerous right now that they're better off, you know, without him. I don't have anything else. I'm out of ammo. It's 5 minutes to go. 7-3 guys. I always enjoy the nets when I come, so we'll see you after net for a few minutes at 7KC. Lee in Port Angeles. Dave, go ahead.
Second.
7KC, was there somebody trying to check into the net?
And stuff. Just when you were talking about the Gatorade, so could you tell me again, it's just a G Gatorade or something?
Yeah, they only manufacture the G, like George. They had a G2, and that one had half the sugar. But just now they have the G, but it'll do the same thing. You're just getting a little more sugar. Go ahead.
Bob, K9PQ.
Well, my great troubleshooting skills, I managed to discover that I had not plugged in the network cable to the Grand Stream box. So, hopefully you can see me now. Oh yeah, I see myself now. Alright, well, that is interesting about the stalking horse. I also looked it up after I made my guess and looked up at Wikipedia, and kind of interesting to see the history behind it and what it's used for. And so, yeah, new term for me as well. Well, let's see. Another option for electrolytes, the one that I use is a tablet called Nuun, N-U-U-N. And you just drop the tablet into water, and I like it better. Oh, looks like my video signal went bad. I like it better than Gatorade. It's not as syrupy, and so something to consider, something to try. And I'm kind of out of things to talk about. It's getting late, so I'll say 73 and send it on, K9PQ.
PQ, well, let's go for a final down the list to Richard, K7ITX.
I was trying to check in. Was someone else trying to get on the air? Is there a breaking station? Evidently not, or there was, or whatever. Let's see. Well, yeah, it's been a great net tonight. The only other last but not least comment that Covington Jim brought to my attention was wondering about a picture of Earth from space. At least I thought I understood his question about that. And the one thing I do remember was it's either Voyager or Voyager 2, as they were leaving the solar system off into interstellar space. And I don't know, somehow NASA or Carl Sagan, anyway, the powers that be made the decision for the very last picture, the final picture of Voyager in the solar system as it's leaving. What should we take a picture of? And so, anyway, they took what appeared to be a picture of deep space, but in that picture of deep space was the little blue dot called Earth. So, that's what I remember about that question. K7ITX, 73 everybody, and thanks again. Back to net control.
K7ITX, Richard, thanks for that. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Time to terminate the net. I'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for allowing us to use WW7STR's repeater, known as the 08 machine, 147.08, with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, clearing the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.